Hello and welcome to Richard Plays Games. My name is Richard and I play games, and welcome back to Parkitect. Yes, we are back in Parkitect today. We are carrying on our playthrough of the vanilla Parkitect campaign mode. So not too much else to talk about, let's jump straight in. So we finished Chanute Airfield in our last episode, and now we have the opportunity to pick which way we're going to go, and today we're going to do Victoria Lake. And the description is, with flat, empty land and ample space for expansion, the surrounding area of Victoria Lake lends itself perfectly to a recreational destination. It is your task to turn the beautiful nature setting into a lakeside amusement park. So we have multiple goals here that we're going to aim for. So the two ones we have to meet are to have at least 300 guests in our park and have no loan debts. Then our optional goals are to have at least 100 guests in our park, have at least 200 guests in our park. So, we're going to meet those because we need to get 300 guests. Then the last optional goal is to complete all non-optional goals by the end of September year 2, which as always, we will absolutely be aiming for. But let's jump in and have a look and see what we're working with. So a nice opening area. Let's zoom out a little bit. And we just got a nice big lake to play around with. Lots of space around. Yeah, we can build something with this. And over here we've got our depot and everything. Not particularly hidden, so we'll have to play with that a little bit. But yeah, this looks like something we can work with. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. Right, so I have a theme in mind for this particular scenario, and it's like Boardwalk theme. So kind of classic amusement park kind of theme mashed with the Boardwalk resort at Disney World. And obviously hotels aren't something that Parkitect has. Why would it? But I did want a lot of these buildings to have almost like a hotel-y kind of theme. I wanted this to be almost like a resort, like you might come and stay for a few days, and there's rides and there's shops and a nice hotel, and that really is kind of what we're going for with this. Used a few reference images and tried to sort of make something that kind of had that real aesthetic, using a lot of the wooden wall pieces. It also has like a bit of like a shopping village kind of vibe at the beginning, which isn't really what I was going for. I don't know if you guys know what I mean in terms of shopping village. I'm talking like, outlet malls, these like outdoor outlet malls that you kind of find, I don't know, in every country I've ever been to, I think, where they have these like real like, I don't even know how to describe the style and aesthetic, but it kind of has that there with those arches and the pillars and everything. Not really what I was going for, but I think in the end it loses a bit of that once you start adding the rides and everything else in. But just using the wood walls, a lot of the borders that we have used so far in every build that we've done, really trying to heavily decorate even like the areas that aren't necessarily overly guest view. Like you wouldn't see the backside of this building from anywhere within the park, but you might walking up to it, and I just wanted to make sure that there was good sight lines, even though I guess sight lines aren't something that matter as much in Parkitect as they do in something like Planet Coaster, where we have more guest view sort of guest style views that we can take, whereas in the isometric view it doesn't really matter as much. But we make use later very quickly of the overlay, where we can look and see what the decoration looks like, and that it's all it's all green, just to fulfill what the kind of game provides us with in terms of how we can see what our guests are seeing. And this building here that is a bit hotel-y, a bit hotel looking, is also our food court. We've embedded some shops and stores in there, and I don't think I'll build a second food court in this particular scenario. I don't want the park to go all the way around the lake. I kind of want it to be more like just one side of the lake. Maybe when we get to it and I want to build a wooden coaster, maybe it will take a little bit of an L shape around to the far side of the lake. But I didn't want it to be like all the way around the lake. I kind of wanted that to keep its nature theme vibe kind of style. So you might be in the park on this side looking out across the lake, and it's not built up on the other side. This building here I struggled with for a little bit because it just looked super blocky and boring. So I sort of tried to play around with the different roof shapes and create this like wave shape. Just kind of, it was just a bit monstrous when I was making it. So we kind of scaled it back again, kept the same style, same kind of vibe, but just scaled back because it was just a bit much. A lot of the stuff, like, or the smaller decorations and stuff that we get in Parkitect, especially in these earlier campaigns, I can't remember in the later ones, but it's just potted plants and stuff. So I tried to make use of them, as much as I possibly can, just to kind of give, some nice styling. We also made this little lakefront sort of covered seating area just for, whenever it rains. As I was playing the scenario, I noticed it didn't have the kind of climate that I thought. If you look down at the weather right now, it's sunny and 5 degrees, which I kind of imagined the park in somewhere a little bit warmer. So when I realized that actually this isn't that kind of place, it didn't really work with the theme very well, but I was already invested, so I'm like, no, I'm going with it. But I just decided I needed a few more covered areas. So we placed our first ride, which is the carousel, which, we won't go over again how it's a staple that you need to have, but it also really fits this kind of boardwalky old school amusement park theme as well. And I think it would be something that you'd have right by the entrance. It might have been like the first thing. Maybe they had a hotel by the lake, a resort by the lake, and they added a carousel as like the first thing, and then they went, you know what, actually maybe we can make this more into a bit more of an amusement park, and there would be like these gardens and forests and trees. And from then we just start to place down a few more rides along this kind of front here. With this scenario, this is the first scenario where you can get vandals, and they're very easy to spot. Parkitect doesn't hide them. They all put on balaclavas or face masks and start kicking down all of your bins and whatnot. And really what annoys them more than anything is they don't have anything particularly intense to go on. And I remember the first time I played through this, my first playthrough of the little bit of the Parkitect campaign that I did, the park was just trashed by the time I sort of realized what was going on. So I tried to sort of preempt that a little bit by placing down a decent number of flat ride through rides, just so that we try and avoid this, you kind of end up in a little bit of a spiral where things look bad, so they get more angry, so they destroy more, so on and so forth. It just doesn't really ever look particularly good. So that's what I'm trying to do by sort of preemptively placing down rides that do have a higher excitement and intensity rating. I'm very aware the queue there for the spiral slide doesn't have to be that big, because the spiral slide has such a low throughput. It doesn't need such a large queue, but it just kind of fit for the covering that I just wanted to give it, so I just went with it. And then we put down the top scan, and I think it's the Orbitron is the other one, and then kind of create this like joint queuing area. It's not as pretty as I would like. In fact, I think it looks kind of naff. I'm not happy with this end of the park at the moment. I probably will come back and work on it, but it was just more, again, it's just get down these sort of thrill rides that are going to prevent high amounts of vandalism and then really tank the park rating. You also saw me there putting down the zones for the employees to make sure that everything's covered by a security guard and a janitor, so that nothing, and a mechanic actually, so anything that is destroyed is quickly fixed. Janitors are tidying up trash, and security guards are kicking out vandals. And then that brings us to the last thing that we're building before we jump into a real-time section, which is as always, a nice little junior coaster. And it's, a junior coaster, they all look the same, right? It's banked turns looping around each other, and just trying to get yourself back to the station, which you can see here I'm struggling with. I've kind of done a bit of research, or I did a bit of research, and found out that I probably was undercharging for a lot of like the rides in the earlier scenarios, which might have been why I was struggling with profit and money. People online were saying that you can charge sort of $14-15 for coasters, and I was charging like $6. So we are going to play around a bit with that, the pricing and everything when we do jump into the real-time section in just a couple of seconds. But coaster's done, people are coming on, let's jump into the real-time section and have a look around this park. So we're going to go through the park now in a real-time section. First thing, let's check for vandalism. Any red? No, I think we're good. Right, that shows that our plan has worked. The preemptive adding of the thrill rides has, and hopefully some good staff management has prevented vandalism, and we'll check for trash as well. Spotless. Though this guy's... What's going on here? What's this little puffs coming out the back of this guy? I don't know. Okay, fine, but spotless, which is exactly what we want. Let's go hide the scenery and we can have a look. We've got some of our shops hidden in these various buildings. Balloons over here, hot dogs, drinks, and umbrellas over here. Annoyingly, the balloons kind of clip through the scenery here, and I can click them and eventually I think they pop or they fly away, but then they do respawn. So maybe I need to either ignore that or think about putting my balloons shop somewhere else. But, you know, it does the job for now, which is fine. Let's have a look. Have we had any new shops we could possibly place down? Let's chuck some burgers there. Just give something else for the peeps to eat. We're going to need to unhide the scenery, and we're just going to need to delete a few things so that we can put in the walls and stuff we need so that they have access to that. This doorway just to put in front like so. Perfect, and we can put that roof back on. Let's just check the entrance at the back. Okay, let's delete a few things there. Fine, that's fine. Perfect. Let's just put the tree back. That'll do. Good. Right. So a hauler's going to bring the burgers, but we just chucked an extra shop in there, which is good. That's going to get us some more money. We'll start at the front here then with the rides. We've got our carousel, the classic, the wipeout over here, and then completing that side. And then this side we've got the spiral slide, the top scan, and the gravitron. And you know they've got medium intensity, which is going to helping us with keeping the teen demographic that can turn into the vandals, keeping them happy. I think we've just hit our guests goal. Let's just have a look. Yeah, we have 300 guests in our park. So the only thing that's actually stopping us from finishing right now is that we currently have a loan out, which is I took out in an attempt to make sure that we didn't carry on finishing scenarios before we were actually ready to move on. So in the real-time section, we've got our junior coaster over here, and we're going to, first of all, change this price, because we said we were going to try. So I'm going to try $12.50 and see if we can really price gouge our way to not needing any more loans. And we're also going to build a station and some queue covering for this as well. So let's get going, shall we? We're going to use a lot of the colours and walls that we already have used. So this one, and what we're gonna do, we're not gonna cover the entire station, we're gonna just cover up the middle bit because it will clip through part of the track if we try and cover the whole thing. And then we're gonna use the flat roof just to box this in. So, okay. And then we can use some pillars. We'll use the thin ones. Just to sort of mark out what bit of the station is going to be covered. I think that's dropped. No? Is that okay? Yeah, it's okay. I thought that had dropped down. I thought it'd sort of put itself down to a lower part of the terrain, but it hasn't, which is fine. So that should be the covering for... Yeah, that looks good. We'll also use the border down at the lower bit here as well. Perfect. Right, now we're going to use these half slopes. Where are we at? Too high. Sometimes that isometric view really can confused to where you're actually placing the pieces. You think you're placing them in a particular place and you're actually just putting them in midair. Roof here. And we're also gonna, let's just use these pillars. We're gonna do some little flag work like we've got down here. So we need a half thick pillar. And then the half thin pillar. It just needs to be a little bit higher. Yeah, that's right. And then we can pop some flags there as well. Just think it gives it a nice look. Right, okay, so that's done that, and then we're also going to then build a slightly lower covering for some of the queue. So we'll do that around the same kind of areas, so like the same width, I think, but obviously it's going to be slightly lower down. Is that going to look stupid? Possibly. Ooh, that was not the right thing to delete. Let's replace that wall panel. There we go. I'm also going to make it so that that's kind of built out a bit more. Not there. So it doesn't just seem like there's a floating path bit. We can actually use the borders to finish that off as well. Again, not there. Thank you, Parkitect. And that bit's going to need a half slope. Just there and there. Right, yeah, that feels like, makes it feel a little bit more permanent, actually, which is kind of what I wanted. And then for this roof, do I want to use the half slopes again? Is that going to look... yeah, let's do it. It's nothing in any way interesting, is it? But it just provides a nice little... In fact, I might do it... No, let's do what we were doing. I was thinking about that. It just seems a little bit too boxy, like. No, actually, you know what? I kind of like it. That's fine. Right, let's do the flags again. And the flags. Perfect. Okay, I think we are good, and we are absolutely raking in the cash, which is probably mostly coming from profit last month. Yeah, it's mostly coming from here. This is running very well now and really bringing us in a lot of money. Full trains. The block sections that we've got are well spaced, so it's letting the trains constantly dispatch, and they are kind of going just as the next one is coming into the station. So we're getting good amount of guest throughput from this coaster now, and a good amount of money coming from it as well. So really happy with how much money we're pulling in. That's going to be more than enough. Right, let's jump back into a time lapse. Let's finish off this park, and then we'll make our money, pay off our loan, and finish off this scenario. Right, second time lapse. It's going to be shorter, this one, because all we're really looking to do is just cap off this end, because the other end is done. Started with a Ferris wheel. I felt like it's a classic ride, and a classic ride that definitely fits in with the kind of boardwalk theming, old school fun fair theming that we've kind of gone for. So we had to have one. It's not going to make us any money, and it's a very inefficient, it doesn't have a particularly high throughput of guests, but you had to have it. We have to have it. It just fits. I also wanted to fill in this little bit of space here, and so I wanted somewhere that guests could just pick up a snack further away from the main food court area. So we went with just a vending machine in a small building that, you know, would be in the park as like a park support building. There might be maintenance stuff in there and all, you know, whatever. So we've done that. Thought about dropping in a swinging ship, but then I thought, no, what we're gonna do, we're gonna just go for a wooden coaster, and that's, you know, like I said, that was our main thing of what I wanted in this park, was a good wooden coaster. Obviously, I'm narrating this. I'm doing the voice recording after I've actually built the coaster, so I'm just telling you now, it's not very good, and I hate it. I'm being very harsh on myself throughout this whole scenario. Actually, for quite a bit of this whole game, I've really don't think it's particularly high enough standard. But anyway, I'm not good at coaster design, and this one is particularly terrible. Actually, you know what? That's a bit unfair. I don't think that it's a terrible coaster. I just think it's a terribly designed coaster, if that makes sense. It's a mammoth design. It's so big. Look how far away I am from the station here. And it's because I took that turn at the top of the second hill. I took it right, not left. I should have gone left and filled in the gap that's kind of behind the station, but I didn't. I kind of took a right turn and ended up, in another park. I may as well be. I'm so far away from the station. So it just becomes this kind of monster, huge design of coaster that I hate. However, because I took out a loan to pay for the coaster, I knew that I kind of had to finish it and then start making the money that I'm going to need to pay off the loan to get the scenario finished within the time, because we're at November year 1 in the time lapse right now. I've got a year to make back a few thousand, and yeah, I can kind of do it. I don't think there's much of a problem with actually making the money, but I just want to make sure that I do it. I don't want to miss out on an opportunity to get the 100% completion. So I kind of decided, you know what we'll do, we'll just finish this coaster, and then if I really do hate it that much, and I think I do, what we'll probably do is go back once I've finished the scenario and redo the coaster again in a better design, because I can do better than this, and I don't like showing off when I don't think I've done particularly well. But that's our first coaster design. Take one. We'll just call it take one. It's going to do the job, kind of. So we're just going to get some people in it, get a small station made, and then from there we can just start to let the game run, let it bring us in some money and pay back the loan, because we need to have that 0 loan debt before we can get the 100% completion. So coaster's done, station's being built. What we'll do now, we'll jump back into it in real time and we'll finish this off. It is September year 2 and we have enough money to pay back our loans and finish off this scenario. So let's do it. No loans. You have completed the goal, and that should be everything we need. Ta-da! So that's all of the optional goals, all of the challenge goals. We have done it. So, we saw us build this little extra area down here. I hate it. Being really honest with you, I hate it. I hate the coaster layout. There's just not enough scenery. There's not enough. I haven't really thought the layout through. So now that there is I'm done and I don't have to worry about any goals, what I'm going to do is I am going to off screen redo this little area, and then we'll come back and we'll look at it again once it's finished. Okay, I think I'm done. I don't think I can do this anymore. If you can't tell, I don't like it still. I'm being very, very harsh on myself. I found this really stressful to be happy with it, and I'm just not, and I'm giving up. But let's ride the new coaster and because that I'm happy with. The coaster layout I really like. It's the station and the area that I just think is pants, but I just can't put any more into actually doing it. So, but yeah, this is our new coaster. I'm much happier with the layout now. It's much more compact. It's a much more efficient use of the space, because the last design, it was just mammoth, wasn't it? It took up too much space. I don't know how it ended up so far away from the station, and it's just boxy and blah blah blah. So this one now, you know, it's got lots of these awesome headbanger moments like that. The track kind of swoops over and round and under itself, which is a huge part of a wooden coaster. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this new layout turned out. This I'm really happy with. The station is still boxy as ever, and that's what I don't like about it. It just doesn't look that good. But like I said, I can't keep redoing it, and I've redone it a couple of times. If you look down, it's August year 3. We are raking in the cash, which is good. Lots of money coming in, but no, I'm kind of done with that. But yeah, we got that area that's kind of finished off, and then we've got our Ferris wheel down here that's just churning away. 2 buildings that we did, one in the time lapse, which is this one here with our vending machine, and then even though I said I probably wasn't going to do it, I built a second food court just in there, because why not? I've still got so much space, and the research has churned along, and it's kind of provided me with so many thrill rides that I could put down. But like I said, I'm done. I just kind of want to get past this scenario now, so we're just going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for playing on with me. I do really appreciate it. If you have liked the video, don't forget to click that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have enjoyed it. I will be back soon, but until then, I will see you when I see you.